Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, along with your City Manager for the City of Oshkosh, Mark Roloff. Mark, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Andy.
All right, well, in the first half of today's show, we'll talk about some municipal news updates. And in the second half, we'll talk about some agenda highlights from the upcoming Tuesday, May 11th Common Council meeting. So, Mark, starting right off at the top today, we continue to have a face covering ordinance that is in effect in Oshkosh.
Yeah, the face ordinance remains in effect until May 31, and the council did put another caveat into that ordinance that set a goal of reaching 50% vaccination rate for the entire county as a benchmark before the mask mandate is lifted. Now that can change any time. Right now it just goes through the 31st of May, so we'll see if what council wants to do as we move forward. But they kind of set down that they really want to start focusing on vaccination.
Okay, all right. Or the end of the COVID-19 emergency declaration would be another point. But.
Yeah, that's probably a more down the road thing. So it's really going to be the vaccine or the date certain. So,
okay.
But that's where it is right now.
Okay, all right, very good. And then also kind of related to that, Winnebago County does have a website dedicated for information about vaccination. We're taking a look at it right now.
Yeah, I would encourage people to take a look at that because the county, it's not daily anymore. There are different dates and because the demand has not been as great. Mm-hmm. I would say that it's pretty easy to get a vaccine. So if you've been waiting, right, there's no reason to wait anymore. Absolutely go with it. You can see that we're at 33.5% of the entire population. Council's goal is 50%. So we have a ways to go. So that's certainly one way to, if you're tired of the mask mandate, and nobody wants to wear them, but there's a purpose for that, and the idea is to try to get as many people vaccinated. So you can sign up to get your vaccine right there, or just take a look there and see when the vaccine clinics are going to be held. And I think they're taking a lot of walk-ins nowadays.
That's what I hear. Right. And to make it even easier to get to a vaccination clinic, Go Transit is offering free transportation.
Absolutely, and we certainly want to make that people aware of that. All they got to do is just say, "I'm going to get my vaccine," and we'll let you on the bus and get you there as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And due to the pandemic and everything, the local government meetings have been held in virtual format. But I understand that this upcoming Common Council meeting is the last one that will be in total virtual format.
It is. The in-person meetings will resume on May 25th. Masking will be required for the members of the public that cannot or do not wish to do that. There'll still be a virtual way to participate in the meetings, and we've got all the instructions on our website, and you'll see it on our agendas as well. So we want people to be aware of that. But meanwhile, the boards and commissions are going to decide their own plans for returning to in-person or virtual. We're not doing a hybrid approach for anything because, frankly, it's very awkward to manage the meeting and for people not either in the room or when everybody's virtually participating to really have a good experience where you're being heard.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we just saw it for just a moment there, but there's also some information on the city's website about how to speak if somebody cares to speak at a council meeting, and they can register on the city's website.
Yeah, we tried to simplify it because we want people to be able to know that they can speak. So there's a real easy way to click and you can register to speak. Then the city clerk has your name ready to go, ready to call you at the appropriate time for you to speak. And right now it's at the beginning, towards the beginning of the meeting. So if you do wish to speak to any item, feel free to use that link. That's right there on the council agenda.
Okay, very good. And also a reminder to folks too that City Hall continues to be open as well. I know there were some questions about that, so City Hall is open, but folks are just encouraged to use the online services on the city's website to take advantage of those shortcuts and ways to make things even easier. So up at the top right is where folks can find that. Okay, and Mark, some good news that we have in Oshkosh here recently is that some historic fixtures that were on the bridge in Menominee Park were recently replaced.
Yeah, they were. Unfortunately, there had been some vandalism and some theft there. And this is the Cooper Wells Bridge. This dates back to a World War I veteran that the bridge is named in honor of. But the globes had been taken away, and you can kind of see what they used to look, what they were looking like before we had them fixed. But now we have a before and an after picture. So got them restored. The cost was about $10,000, but we got a donation from an anonymous donor who felt very strongly about wanting to restore those. So that's kind of neat. I mean, it's so refreshing to hear people that have such a sense of history. You know, I'm sure nobody there remembers Cooper Wells, but you know, what Cooper Wells stood for is certainly something that we all can understand and appreciate. So this is a way to continue honoring veterans who have served our country so well.
Sure. And I believe that I read that the 100th anniversary of the dedication of that bridge is in July of this year. So that's actually great timing.
It's beautiful timing, and so we're glad that we were able to get that all done in time.
Very good. Okay, another thing for Oshkosh is folks might have remembered that there's been a Tree City USA designation for the city, and the city has achieved this one more time again.
Yeah, our 40th consecutive year with the Tree City USA designation. I can't remember exactly how long the program has been in place, but we're one of the longest recognized communities in Wisconsin. And on the consecutive side, I think we may be darn near the top, but the National Arbor Day Foundation does this recognition, and it's really to have an active tree program, and our city forester, Bill Sturm, and our forestry staff do a great job of maintaining our urban forest, as it's called.
Sure. And
we're real proud of the fact that we've been able to maintain that Tree City USA designation all these years.
And the Forestry Division has been busy planting some trees in celebration of Arbor Day recently.
Yeah, April 30th, we were able to do a little celebration, albeit socially distanced, but we wanted people to be reminded that we're still very active in restoring our urban forest. And you know, in recent years, it's really been hit hard with the emerald ash borer, and a lot of trees throughout the city have been taken out. We've been delaying it as much as we can, but once the ash borer takes it over, it's pretty tough. So we've taken down a number of trees, and we're going to be replanting other trees in a staggered fashion to diversify our species of trees. To basically, if other diseases go through, it won't decimate so many areas. And there are a lot of neighborhoods that had all ash trees. That's really hard on that neighborhood because you had this great little canopy and now it's gone. We want to restore those things.
Okay, all right, very good. I know our forestry folks are taking good pride and care in the forestry here in Oshkosh. Okay, and then another source of pride in Oshkosh is the Oshkosh Public Museum, and they're looking for some volunteers for an upcoming exhibit.
The Titanic exhibit, the Wisconsin Connection, is going to be opening on July 21st. This was actually delayed a year because of COVID. We were able to delay it for 1 year. But now we're full steam ahead on getting it done, but now we need some help. We need volunteers, and we've always had a great core of people to help volunteer at the museum, but with the pandemic, that's been a little more challenging. Not everybody has come back, and that's certainly understandable. But we're going to need volunteers to assist during the exhibit hours. So if you've got some time on, during the day or on weekends that you might think you might make yourself available, visit the Oshkosh Public Museum's website, and you can apply, and we would love to have you. And if you've been a regular to the museum, you're going to see that you're going to be able show it off to the public. And if you haven't been there, you'll learn a little bit about local history and get to see some really cool exhibits as a volunteer.
And it's a great staff over there at the museum, and they're great to work with, so volunteers will have a great experience.
Yeah, and we've got some great, right now we have the Star Wars toy collection.
Right.
Titanic's next, and then later on in the fall, around Thanksgiving, we're going to have the White Christmas display, all the little props and dresses from the 1954 musical. So looking forward to that as well. I just signed the contract for that yesterday, so I know that's well on its way. But we've got some really good programs coming up for the museum, so I'm looking forward to all of them.
Okay, well, we're excited to see that. Looking forward to it. We also have some construction projects that are underway in the city, and they're in progress right now.
Yeah, lots of them. We've talked about them. So, but if you're heading down to Wentz and you wonder why it's a little rough around there, Fond du Lac Road's getting done from Stony Beach down to East Waukau, and so you're going to see some inconveniences along the way. We do have detours when there's when you can't get through, and that can happen a lot of times. So you can cut over in different areas to get there, but just be on the lookout and give yourself a few more minutes if you're heading down the Lake Road to go to Fond du Lac or down to Wentz and areas like that. Meanwhile, Vinland Street, it's technically not a city project. It's actually a town of Oshkosh project, but we're working very closely with them. So the work is planned to be completed by June 4th. It should have started this week, so you might see some inconveniences out there. So like if you're heading out to Valley Christian or something like that, you may be inconvenienced. So be on the lookout to make sure that you're going to be okay to get through. And then CP Avenue from Bowen Street to Lake Street is under construction, and it's expected to last until late summer. Don't have an exact date. It's a little early to be starting to promise finish dates for projects of this magnitude. And similarly, West 9th from Oakwood to Paul's Place, that's currently under construction. Again, it's going to be late summer before that's done. And just for everybody's information, the Pheasant Creek Quail Run intersection to the east is expected to open sometime in July, but the best way to learn and keep track of these things is check our website for construction activity updates. You can actually sign up to get a regular weekly email about what recent activity is going on, what inconveniences to expect in the upcoming week. So especially if you live in that area or drive through that area, I would encourage you to take up the Public Works website and put yourself on the mailing list. You'll get some great information.
Sure. Yeah, that information is available through the city's website and on the Public Works page. There's a lot of great information there, including some maps that show the current construction zones and things like that. And as Mark mentioned, you can sign up for those email updates of current construction projects so that you're aware of what areas to avoid where they're doing some work. And speaking of doing some work, a lot of folks have been working around their homes and kind of cleaning up their brush and all that sort of thing. And we have one more week of opportunity for the brush to be picked up at their home curbside.
Exactly, and it's now through May 14th on your regular garbage day.
Okay.
We have that extended brush collection, so you can get rid of your yard waste with curbside pickup. So it's things like tree branches, leaves, hedge clippings, and garden debris. No grass, dirt, root balls, or stumps. Sorry, folks, but the brush should be placed in these biodegradable bags like you see there, or bundled up and tied. So you can look at the city's website for that information. We also have our permits that you can get if you just don't want to have them to sit out at the curb and you get it done on the weekend and your pickups later in the week. You can still use our drop-off site, but you do need a sticker for that. You can get that at Kits and File Hardware or right here at City Hall during our regular hours, or that's one of those mobile online
services. Exactly.
Yeah, so you can get that. So just check our website for all the details on our brush collection. One way or another, we'll help you get rid of your yard waste.
Okay, lots of opportunities. Alrighty. Well, and then another thing too to point out to folks is that we have several surveys that are currently open. The city wishes to engage with its residents for feedback and information. We have several topics that folks are being asked some various subjects, some questions on.
Yeah, well, I really want to draw attention to everybody for the annual Oshkosh Citizen Survey.
Okay.
Some surveys that we do on Pulco are a little narrowly focused. This is broadly focused, so we use this information and share it with the council so they can do prioritization for things based on input we receive. I can tell you I have seen over the years the council takes the results of that survey very seriously. Now, we used to mail it out on kind of a random basis. Now it's available on Pulco, so if you haven't subscribed to Pulco, you absolutely want to subscribe. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be able to be made aware of so many other surveys. And I know you got a whole list of other surveys that are going on besides our annual citizen survey.
Right. We're also looking for feedback on the annual State of the City event to just get some feedback from folks about what we might be able to do better with that, or what kinds of information folks would like to hear during a State of the City program. So that's another one. And then also there's the urban duck keeping survey for some feedback about what folks think about that topic. And very soon we'll be posting the Oshkosh Housing Community Survey. That should be up by the weekend. So a lot of opportunities for feedback.
Yeah, and so I encourage people to do that as well. So yeah, Pulco is the way you can do it, and encourage people to do that.
Okay, and that is available through a link on the city's website. So, all right, Mark, I think it's time for a quick break. Wraps up the first half of the show here. Please stay with us, and we'll be right back with some agenda highlights from the upcoming Tuesday, May 11th Common Council meeting. You're watching the City Managers Report.
May the force be with you when you visit the Nostalgia Awakens, now open at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Take in the largest display of original Kenner Star Wars toys ever assembled in the state of Wisconsin. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. These pieces of memorabilia are as iconic as the movies themselves. You must make a reservation to see this one-of-a-kind exhibit. Go to www.oshkoshmuseum.org or call 236-5799 to make your reservation and prepay now to enjoy easy check-in when you arrive. The Nostalgia Awakens at the Oshkosh Public Museum, on display now through June 20th.
And welcome back to the City Managers Report. I'm Andy Radig along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's take a look at some agenda highlights from the upcoming May 11th Common Council meeting. Mark, it looks like there's a section with several public hearings toward the beginning of the meeting, and I understand these are several annual types of things that are on a council agenda.
Right. All the street projects we mentioned on the first half of the show, we have a process to special assess to fund a portion of those projects. So we've noticed all the property owners, and there's a public hearing that's required by law. We've also reached out to the residents, so if they have any specific questions related to their property, they can contact our staff. But this is a process that is required to be followed by state law. So we're doing that and doing them all together on Tuesday in this virtual fashion.
Okay, and I know that this deals with special assessments, and I know that there was some talk a while back about alternative funding mechanisms for that. Any insight on where that stands?
Well, the council gave us the green light to hire an outside firm to take a look at what a structure for a traffic-based transportation fee might look like. That firm is actually doing it for several municipalities throughout the state. So we're waiting our turn on when they're going to get done. But I expect sometime this summer we'll be getting that information out, sharing it with council, sharing it with the residents, the business community, that type of thing. But I knew that the process with special assessments was going to bring up that very issue. And so I expect it'll be sometime this summer.
Okay, very good. We'll be watching for that. And then there's also an item later on in the agenda for some new equipment for our firefighters. And I believe that there was a $10,000 donation was a part of this?
Yeah, these are for firefighting hoods, literally hoods that the firefighters can put on to protect them, because what we found is a lot of smoke really creates risk for them with carcinogens seeping into their body and everything. So these hoods actually help protect them from exposure. And so we're pleased that we got a $10,000 donation, and this is very much a safety issue, and so we appreciate the generosity of the anonymous donor who made that happen.
Okay, and then there's another item relating to the fire department, and it looks like they might be getting some new fire hoses.
This has been something that we know we've needed to replenish our supply of fire hose. The cost is about $45,000, and we're the fortunate recipients of a $40,000 federal grant. So we've got to come up with a little over $5,000 to cover the match cost. So, but it's 90% funded, and that just makes our water supply and a fire line much more reliable. And we want to be safe, and we want to be effective if we've got to put out a fire.
Okay, very good. Then there's also an item looking at a multifamily development at the southwest corner of Pearl Avenue and Riverway Drive.
Yeah, if you've driven by that area, you've probably seen Morgan Crossing as one of the developments. This is actually a long overdue phase 2 of Morgan Crossing. Okay. The housing problems in 2008 really slowed that process down, but this is the site, and it's really just a continuation of what you saw with the original Morgan Crossing. A little more up to date because it's been, almost 15 years since that was last done. So we're real excited that that's going to add another element to residential housing in the downtown area.
Sure. Yeah, that area has really grown over the years, so continues on. Okay, and then there's also a general development plan for, I believe it's a Camping World facility?
Yeah, so, if you're a camping person, such as myself, you probably have a great deal of interest in this, but Camping World is doing some expansion, and this will be their first Fox Valley location. I think the proximity to EAA has something to do with it, but this is the northwest corner of Ripple Avenue and South Washburn Street. It's just north of where Ford Festival Park is, so you get an idea of where it's going to be. But they made a presentation to the Plan Commission, and the Plan Commission approved it. Because of all the metal you see there, they're going to be putting in some extra landscaping per the recommendation of the Plan Commission. But these are the best drawings we have so far from them. But you'll get an idea that it's a retail store, but it's also a
service center,
RV sales and servicing. So that's why you see a lot of the big garages there, because they're going to be pulling some big rigs in there. But quite exciting. This will be a draw for people coming from the area, and then at EAA time, you're going to see a whole bunch of people line up at that store. So it'll be a good retail draw for the area.
Okay, all right. And then another item that is kind of a new item for the area too, taking a look at some ordinances for electric scooters, and I know that part of this is that they're not to be on sidewalks.
Well, yeah, the Parking and Traffic Review Board, as well as the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, did take a look at this, and both of them advised the council that the electric scooters should not be on public sidewalks. We do allow bicycles on public sidewalks, but they don't want to add more to the sidewalks. There's also there's a proposed business in town that'll be renting these and selling these, but the committee recommended against doing what are called dockless, where they're just you can just leave them anywhere and things like that. And I didn't like that idea either. But we will be seeing some more of these coming out, so we needed to put some regulations in place for health and safety purposes. So this will get us into establishing the rules for how e-scooters and electric personal assistive mobility devices, which are basically Segways, how they're going to be regulated.
Okay, all right. Probably something that really hasn't gotten a lot of attention before.
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. And then we have some street closures in some areas of town. It looks like Bowen Street to East Irving Avenue is one of them.
Yeah, Bowen from Irving to Parkway. They're going to be doing some lead lateral replacements. We're trying to get rid of lead laterals. Some of the neighbors have done it to serve their own property, so we have an obligation to get that done. So we need to close Bowen. That's one of those streets that normally is supposed to stay open. So we're doing that. And then similarly, another agenda item here is to close Washington Avenue. That's another street that should remain open, but we're asking council to give a waiver to this. And that's going to be from Bowen to Hazel Street, and that's some other water replacement that we're doing. So two areas on the east side that are going to be closed. So we're doing this now because you're going to be seeing these will be closed within the next couple weeks. So there's the Washington closure that you're going to see. It'll just be for a couple days, but we just want to make people aware of them. We'll have it out on our website and our social media, so be on the lookout for that.
Okay. And then another item on the end of the agenda is an upcoming workshop on May 25th dealing with the Clearwell Project. What is the Clearwell Project about, and what does this do?
Well, we have a large storage tank at our water filtration plant at the end of Merritt and Washington. And there's that mound that you may see on Lindy Street that is where our existing Clearwell is. And basically it's the last place the water is at the plant before it gets out into the system. We need a large storage area there because we have to do a lot of back flushing and maintenance that requires a large amount of water to do that, and we have it there. But that's the last place where we put clean water before we put it out in the system.
Okay.
The mound actually kind of hides the fact that most of the tank is actually below the lake level,
okay,
and that doesn't meet code. This Clearwell is over 100 years old and needs to get replaced to be compliant with the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources. The Department of Natural Resources gave us some authorization about 5 years ago, but the Public Service Commission, the PSC, another state agency, didn't like what they were proposing. So we've been going back and forth with two state agencies for 5 years.
Okay.
So you'll see that it looks like what everybody has generally agreed to is a new location, but it'll be above ground. So obviously that's going to have a different look and feel to it, and we want to go through it with council so they understand why we're doing this from a regulatory standpoint. And then we're going to have to reach out to the neighbors to explain, well, we're doing it for this reason. It's going to give a little bit of blockage to a pretty nice view over there already. But we want to let people make them aware that it's all because of regulatory issues. We have to have the tank above ground in order for us to comply.
Okay, and we'll be watching for more information on that, and that workshop is on May 25th at 5:15 p.m. Okay, and then also another future meeting, the Common Council will be meeting alongside the Redevelopment Authority to take a look at a topic.
This is for the development of property that we list as 43 East 7th, but basically it's all the Redevelopment Authority property north of 9th Avenue and east of South Main Street. And we have 5 proposals. I think there's some real intriguing ideas. The Redevelopment Authority will be reviewing those proposals, and then the RDA invited the Common Council to sit in on those if they want to ask questions and things like that. Eventually, the council will be involved in some way of supporting this project, so it's important to get the council in as early as possible. I encourage people to watch this program. You're going to see some really neat ideas, and I'm sure council will want to hear from you on which ideas you like. The RDA want to hear from people, so be on the lookout. We may be doing some surveys about that as well, so encourage people to look forward to that.
Okay, May 19th at 4 p.m. for that meeting. Well, Mark, I think we're at about the end of our time limit here, so thanks for being here again today.
Always a pleasure, Andy.
Okay, very good. And again, that Common Council meeting is coming up this Tuesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen to it on the radio, Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online and on the TuneIn radio app for phones and tablets. ballots. So again, thanks for joining us today, and join us again in 2 weeks for another City Managers Report. Stay safe and stay well, everyone.